Yo, as always, like, share, subscribe, and don't forget to hype the video. Now let's just get into it. So, Michigan just beat Northwestern 24-22 with a last second field goal from Zavada. Man, this game was that about sums it up for us because and somebody had said, Johnny, you sound scared. Do you feel me now? Do you hear me now? People, for some reason, people think that I just get on here and I just talk and I don't know what I'm talking about. I understand. I've been watching football for so long and watching Michigan. I can tell how the team, how the coaching staff is looking. I'm not making it up. It's not me hating, me not being a homer. It's me understanding football and understanding this team and this coaching staff hasn't shown me enough for me to just feel confident the rest of the way. And it showed today. I'll be in those the person I'm talking about knows who I'm talking about. I'll be accepting an apology, a cash app, or a super. No, I'm just playing. But this game was a kind of a game of two halves almost, or what do you want to say? You know, Bryce was sharp in the first half. Bryce was sharp, hitting Andrew Marsh. I mean, him and Marsh, the connection, those boys were cooking in the first half. But it was just mistakes, you know. Andrew Marsh, he on a reverse, he gets leveled and the ball just goes flying, you know, things like that. So I think we go into the half 7-6. Then the third quarter, Michigan takes control and is up 21-9. Fourth quarter, it just all kind of goes bad. I think Samaj might have had a fumble late in the third on a punt return, which I'll get to when I really get into the analysis. But I think Samaj recovered it. The ref, she called it Northwestern's way instantly. She wasn't even by the pile yet. She was and calls it for Northwestern recovery. And then we had Bryce throws an interception. Then Bryce throws another interception. And the play calling is getting a little dicey because at this point we're running it down their throat. But we still want to keep Bryce involved in the pass game, and he throws two interceptions. And this game went from okay, we're about to pull away to okay, are we about to lose this game? But shout out to Bryce, shout out to Kuzdal for showing some heart. Bryce made a big time third down play pass, and Kuzdal made some nice runs, and shout out to the offensive line to get us in field goal range and ball game. You know, so that's how we want it. So let's get into this. Let's get into this, y'all. Let's get into this. So I guess we can start with the offense. So first drive we get a sack. First drive Bryce gets sacked. The pass blocking wasn't that good this game, and the run blocking was spotty somewhat in this game too. You know, it was like they wanted to throw to set up the run, which it did work, but I think certain times you need to know, okay, we need to lean more on the run game, especially in the red zone. You need to lean more on the run game. And that's not to say just take the ball out of Bryce's hands. Run Bryce on the read. You know what I'm saying? And they didn't use it much this game. They didn't use it much. And it holds the offense back. This offense isn't just dynamic, especially Jordan Marshall hurt his shoulder. Once he went out, it was like, oh my God, what else can go wrong? So Jordan Marshall hurt his shoulder. I don't know if he'll be ready for OSU. We'll find out. But, you know, the offense gets you want to embrace Bryce throwing it, but it's really he's really just going to Andrew Marsh most of the time, you know. So for this offense to be what we need it to be, to really make teams pay, you have to run him. And Sharon keeps trying not to run him, and the margin for error is getting slimmer and slimmer because you don't want to run him like that. You're scared to use him. You're scared to use him in the read and to run him like that. And you need to do it. So that's just me. You know, we got out of here with the skin of our teeth. But the one thing that I can say that is good and pretty amazing, I believe Michigan had 5 turnovers in this game. Let me see. Yeah, I believe Michigan had 5 turnovers, 3 fumbles, and 2 interceptions. 3 fumbles and 2 interceptions. So that's just crazy. If you turn it over 5 times, you almost never, and they have 0 turnovers, you almost never win. And honestly, you probably don't deserve to win. If I'm gonna keep it real, you probably don't deserve to win. You turned it over 5 times. That's crazy. But Marsh, offensively, first half, Marsh and Bryce were cooking. Like, they were locked in. I think Marsh had 100 and some yards in the first half and like 9 catches, you know, but you had wasted trips. So you wasted a trip to the red zone with Zavada because Zavada missed a field goal. And then the end of the first half, you got in, it was a long kick. It was a 60-yarder, and he pushed it a little wide right, I believe. So that, you had drives where you didn't get anything because Northwestern wasn't exactly moving the ball great in the first half, but they were doing enough to eat up some clock. And then Michigan eats up clock. So that makes you're going to get way less possessions when that happens. So that's the thing. But besides that, the first half, Bryce looked very sharp. Like, it looked like he might throw for 300 and something in this game. Then also something I noticed. Offensively, Bryce doesn't trust Samaj. I think it was a 3rd down on our 3rd drive, and Samaj looked to be wide open. Now, that's from the TV copy, so he may not have been wide open. But from what I saw and what people in my group chat were saying, Samaj looked wide open. And to me, that tells me Bryce doesn't trust him. He'd rather throw to a contested McCulley than a wide open Samaj Morgan. You know? And honestly, I understand. But if Samaj is on the field, if the coaches are trusting him enough to be on the field, you got to trust him to catch the ball. That's just how the game is played. You can't be shying away from him because then possible big plays, you're leaving on the field because you didn't trust him. If the coaches trust to put Samaj on the field, you got to trust that he's going to catch that ball for you, Bryce. I get it. Hey, you know, and this could be a bigger conversation. If the quarterback don't trust him, should he be on the field? That might be a tough conversation that the coaches, Bryce, Samaj, or the coaches and Bryce might need to have. A tough conversation about, you know, and they could be, this ain't up to you. But if he ain't going to throw to him, if he's open, ain't no point in putting him on the field. These are some tough conversations. I don't want to have them. I'm glad I ain't got to have them, but to me, that's what it looks like. There was a tip pass that Bryce had. Deacon Tonelli made a big time play because that could have been the the first interception and would have turned out to been the 3rd interception. So he'd have made a big play on a deflected ball. And then Marsh fumbled on the reverse. And then we had hold on. Yeah, Marsh fumbles on the reverse. And Then Samaj fumbles on the punt. Okay, I lost my train of thought there. Sorry about that. Samaj fumbles on the punt. Then Bryce gets to cooking on the RPO. Marshall has the TD. Then Bryce, this is when he starts. So we come out second half and we have a great drive. It's Marshall goes 65. Then Bryce keeps it from like the in the red zone on like the 20-yard line, runs in. It fooled everybody because Bryce hardly ever keeps it. So he walks in the end zone. The cameraman is on the running back. You know, and those are the yards that we're leaving on the field because Sharon or Chip Lindsey, they don't want to run Bryce. We got to have a second quarterback. Okay, well, we're going to have some close games because you're leaving yards on the field. We're going to have closer games. We're going to have leave points on the field. We're going to have times when the offense is more stagnant than it could be or than it should be because you're scared to run him. These are facts. These ain't opinions. I don't care if nobody like it. You got to run him. You got to run him. I don't care if nobody likes it. I don't care. You're wrong. You have to run him. Like that, you have to. Especially now that Jordan Marshall is hurt, you got to run that boy. All this soft stuff and, oh, we can't run him. What if he gets hurt? Well, what if we lose to Northwestern? You ain't going to know what to be mad about then. Enough playing around, bro. Use the weapons you have. Bryce's legs are one of the biggest weapons, and the fact that he hardly ever keeps it on the read is letting defenses off easy. And I don't care what nobody says. You can take that to Facebook or wherever you want, but don't bring it here because I don't want to hear it. Leaving points, leaving yards on the field because we're scared to run the quarterback. Well, you need to run him. Season almost over, and we're barely scraping by because you're scared to use a big weapon. Okay, now let me see where I'm at. So Bryce throws the interception. It was on a third down. It was on a third down, and he just locks in on the receiver. Now, I probably should have said this earlier, but it's getting to the point where this is going to come into play big, so let me say it now. Bryce was cooking with the RPO. I don't really care for the RPO that much, but he was cooking with it, with Marsh and also with McCulley. Like, they were executing it very well. But later in the game, Northwestern started to realize what they were doing with what we were doing with the RPO, and that safety was dropping down, faking like he was firing up for run support, but he was really baiting Bryce to throw that RPO. So we had more passes getting tipped, and then we saw an interception that comes on the next drive. Because the next drive, after Bryce throws the interception and Northwestern scores, we're running it down their throat. We're running it down their throat with Marshall, with Kuzdal, and this is one of those drives where I don't think we had to throw a pass. The only reason we threw a pass is just because we wanted to. Okay, let's go on and throw it. Let's throw an RPO in there. Run that ball. We could have ran that ball clean to the end zone, I believe. Nothing showed me that we wouldn't have. But Bryce, we do the RPO. Bryce keeps it, locks on. He gets baited by the safety who drops down like he's firing in for run support. But he drops down and he's waiting on Bryce to throw the RPO, interception. Guess what? You thought you was in a battle with Northwestern. Now you in a real dogfight with Northwestern. So that's what happened. He got baited. So Michigan, and shout out to the defense. I'm gonna get to the defense, but shout out to them. Defense gets the ball back for us, and then turnover on downs. On a fourth down. We get the ball back, get back in field goal range. Jordan Marshall is hurt at this point. So Kuzdal and Bryce, it's 4th and 1. Kuzdal and Bryce. Now, like I said earlier, Zavada had already missed 2 field goals. So Sharon at this point is probably like, man, I don't trust Zavada, because it was probably a 40-yard field goal, something like that, 35 to 40-ish range. And so it's 4th down, and they're trying to do the read. Bryce is holding it high, and he's still looking, reading. Kuzdal doesn't know if he's supposed to get it, so he tries to get it. He never has control. Fumble, turnover on downs. You get what I'm saying? So, to me, probably should have kicked the field goal, but the execution in this game, there's just much to be desired. There's so many little things that are wrong with this team, and the team just seems off to me a little bit. Or it could be a lot. The team seems off. You know, I don't know if it's the leadership or what it is. Well, it probably is Sharon. But something is off with the team, and the discipline is just not there. The tackling is just not there. A lot of soft tackling. And let me give a shout out to Northwestern, because them boys was hitting. That middle linebacker for Northwestern, you can play for Michigan. You can play on my team, bro. You can play for us. Because that boy was a heat-seeking missile. He had Kuzdal is going to be, Kuzdal needs an extra day or 2 off. Because he was getting blasted by this dude. You know, and it was like every time, this dude is laying some wood. So shout out to Northwestern, bro, because that dude was hidden. But yeah, then, so we should have kicked the field goal on turnover, when it was the turnover on down and the bad exchange from Kuzdal and Bryce. Then we start trying to pass. So we get the ball back. Then we start passing it, you know. We're still passing it. We get the ball back with like 2:15 left. And we're still kind of passing it. Nothing on 1st down, nothing on 2nd down. Then Bryce, shout out to Bryce, shout out to Marsh. Bryce throws a laser on the sideline, and Andrew Marsh is stepping up and becoming that number 1 receiver we need. And he dives and toe taps a beautiful catch, beautiful throw, and we're back in business. You know, and I'm in the group chat, bro, run the ball, please. And then we run the ball, Kuzdal running hard, even though he's getting blasted sometimes, running hard, we get in field goal range, ball game. So the thing about this offense, and it's been like this all year, is sometimes it seems like we're just inconsistent with the balance of the run and the pass. When we're running it, and it's working. Boom, great. This game, okay, we're passing it, and we're forgetting to run it. You know, we're not establishing the run. Then, like, that was the first half. Second half, okay, we're running it great. Then we forget about the run. Now we're throwing it too much, and the balance isn't there. The understanding of the run and the pass, you know, I want to see more play action. I know people love the RPO, but I want to see more play action. I do. I'm sorry. I don't care what nobody says. I want to see it more. I like some stuff. I'll take people's opinions. This is something I'm not going to take your opinion on. Like, I want to see more play action, but we got out of there on the skin of our teeth. You know, luckily defense stepped up when it was really crucial. They stepped up, but Chip Lindsey and Sharon, I'm not sure something is off about this offense, this team in general, but to be specific, offensively, something is off about the being balanced. Like, it's like this drive we're going to pass, this drive we're just going to run, this drive we're just going to run, this drive we're just going to pass. There's not a mix like it's not balanced on a series. You get what I'm saying? Where it's okay, they were running it well, they hit a few passes off of it, and it's cohesive. You know, it's not. It doesn't seem like it's cohesive when you're trying to mix it up and do both. It's like we can do one well or the other. We can run it really well or we can pass it really well, depending on the series. But to do both on a series, it's a struggle for us. So let's move on to the defense. Defensively, Barham offsides early on the 3rd and short. Now, defensively, it's a lot of mental mistakes. You know, whether inconsistent tackling, number one. Then you've got a bunch of mental mistakes. Northwestern's quarterback was doing the false clap. He was doing the false snap, the clap. And we just got guys getting baited into it time and time again on 3rd and shorts. It's not like it's 3rd and 8. These are 3rd and 5s, 3rd and 3s. So it's an automatic first down. And there was a lot of that going on with Barham and I think it was Eno Etta or Cam Brandt. Like, bro, watch the ball. Just watch the ball. It's one of the first things they teach you as a D lineman. Watch the ball. Like, the discipline. Like, this is one of the most undisciplined teams I've ever seen at Michigan. I'm going to be real. The Rich Rod and Brady Hoke era is a little fuzzy to me. The older I get, the longer we get away from it. But I don't even think they were this undisciplined. You get what I'm saying? Like, this team is just so undisciplined, bro. And it'll drive you crazy, bro, because these are things that you can control. Like, Northwestern, this game shouldn't have been close. It was just a lot of Michigan beating themselves. Samaj trying to do too much on a punt return. He fumbles. Things like that. And the strength and conditioning also. Like the tackling, actually making the tackle, we miss a nice amount of tackles. But okay, let's say we've got a guy in our grasp. So many times do I see us just grab a dude with he's going full speed. We have no momentum, or a guy is slowing up to tackle him, and he gets more yards. Like, too many times this year have I seen a 3rd and 1 where we have him stopped, or a 4th and 1 and we have him stopped, and he's churning, and he turns a gain of nothing into 2, into 3, because we seem like we're not strong or physical enough. Like, to me, that goes straight to strength and conditioning. I mean, it's hard. Part of it is heart, but strength and conditioning. Meanwhile, we're watching Northwestern. One of their linebackers lighting dudes up. Play after play. He don't need his teammates to help him gang tackle. He lighting dudes up. But we're trying to gang tackle, and dudes are still getting 2 and 3 yards after contact. Something ain't right. Why are they hitting? Not just one player, multiple players that are hitting, and we're getting drugged and having soft tackles, dudes pulling up before they hit. I wish I was making it up, but Northwestern was the more physical team on defense. These are facts. That's ain't opinion. They were the more physical team on defense. They were hitting. They were having dudes hurting going back to the huddle. Like, come on, bro. Somebody go out there and lay some wood. Hillman, he got you beat. I can't remember his name, but that linebacker got you beat, Hillman. He knocking dudes out. He laying that wood play after play after play. And we got to get back to it. So, And me going on that rant, that was Northwestern got a fake punt, and they got the first down. I don't think they did anything with the drive, but Northwestern had, like, in the first half, they had good drives that led to nothing, but it ate up the clock, so that's less possessions for Michigan. Now, in the second half, defense was playing good. Northwestern was stuck on 9 points, and defense was playing good. And then I think you had Samaj fumble, which I think they didn't score on that. I think that was second half. Then you had Bryce throws the interception, and then Bryce throws another interception. So that put the defense in horrible positions. Like, they put the defense in horrible positions. On one of them, the next play, they score a touchdown. And then the other one, they scored again. Yeah. So Michigan, the offense put the defense in horrible positions, and shout out to Northwestern for capitalizing. The big weakness, because Northwestern didn't run the ball that well against us. Northwestern had 61 rushing yards and 184 passing yards. Most of their passing yards, because that's how they moved the ball. They couldn't really run it consistently. How they moved the ball was really, they were exploiting our defense in the middle. It looked like we were in some cover 2, and the linebacker wasn't dropping back. He wasn't carrying with him. Like, you have to run with that guy. When you run those cover 2-man high looks, the linebacker, the middle is yours. You have to get the depth. You have to see that guy running in the middle, and you have to get enough depth to make a play on that pass. If not, he's going to be wide open. And that was the play that kept beating us. Them running that tight end through the middle of the field. You know what I'm saying? And whether it was Mason Curtis had a chance at him, sometimes I think Metcalf, there was just a dude almost there but wasn't quite there. You know what I'm saying? So that was the thing with that. And the defense was right there on some of these passes. On some of them, other ones were wide open. They were right there on some of these passes, but they just missed it by this much. You know what I'm saying? Mason Curtis missed one, and he's 6'5". So, and it was right there and just missed it. So the defense didn't play as bad as maybe the score might look. I mean, Northwestern only scored 22, but it was just the offense put them in horrible position. Like, when the game really could have been okay, we're just going to run the ball and get up out of here. And then here we go, turnover. To really put the pressure on Michigan's defense to step up. Let's see. Initial tackles. Yep. But later in the game, when we really needed the defense to step up, they did, because Northwestern had the lead. Once they got the lead, Michigan's defense stepped up and got us the ball back, I think 3 times. And each time, 2 of those times, we turned it over. And the defense got us the ball right back. Didn't let Northwestern eat up any clock. They didn't get to eat up the clock. It was 3. I think all 3 times were 3 and outs. I do believe. I think, don't quote me, but I think they were 3 and outs. And that was just big, because if they let more of that clock, if they let them get a couple first downs, who knows what's going to happen, because Bryce's nerves were getting to him a little bit. All of a sudden you're in a dogfight with Northwestern at Wrigley Field, and you're a freshman. You know what I'm saying? So it's a Like this game was great for Bryce's growth. Honestly, you started out hot, then you made mistakes, but you made some plays to win the game. You get what I'm saying? So that's the thing, but shout out to the defense for stepping up when we needed them to, but the discipline is just not there. Like coming out of this bye week, and this is why people ask me, and if you watched my Q&A video, they said, what are your faith in the coaches? 50%. Because we came off a bye week and the team looked lackadaisical, making discipline mistakes, making mental mistakes still. So how am I supposed to have a bunch of faith in the coaching staff when you have 2 weeks to prepare for a game, and this is the showing, So that's the big thing. Like I'm not going to hype up a team or a coaching staff where I can give them 2-3 weeks to prepare for a game and they look like they ain't practiced. Only people look like they practiced was Martian and Underwood being on the same page. But just so many mental mistakes. Sharon Moore not kind of second guessing certain things, It's just not. It's this game have you second guessing Sharon Moore being the head coach. I'm gonna keep it real. This is a game that had you second guessing it a little bit. Like, bro, I'm not sure if you're just too much of a friend. You're not a disciplinarian, and you're not on top of this team like they need to be to maximize the potential of a team. So even if this team did have more talent at receiver, would you be able to maximize the team? Even if this team had, let's say they had the 2023 talent, would he be able to maximize them for a year and go undefeated? Would he be able to do it? I'm not sure. Like these next 2 games, I'm really looking at Sharon Moore's team like, bro, do you have this team together? Yes, they're young, but mental mistakes that you're making late in the season, you shouldn't be making them, especially with veteran players. A lot of these mistakes, it's not the young guys, it's the veteran players. So what am I supposed to do? I'm going to talk about the team the way I see it. I don't care what nobody say, So that's kind of what it is, just mistakes, mistakes in pass blocking, run blocking sometimes. Then you had Bryce's mistakes in the second half, the play calling, the inconsistency of when to run, when to pass. And then defensively, so many mental errors, 12 men on the field, offsides, just a bunch of mental errors defensively. Like, bro, get the discipline together. So, honestly, I'm tired. That game was a barn burner, and thankfully we won it with 5 turnovers, which is a crazy number. To win a game with 5 turnovers is quite remarkable, honestly. But the fact that we just made so many mistakes, whether it was special teams making mistakes, offensively making mistakes, whether it's the coaches and play calling or if it's the players. Defensively, so many mental mistakes, So we got out of there to keep our playoff hopes alive, but man, this ain't one I can feel good about. I'm going to keep it real. This ain't one I can feel good about. The only thing I can feel good about after this is that Bryce made some plays after he threw those interceptions. And Andrew Marsh looks like he's a true number 1. And they're taking the steps together. But besides that, all I can take is, we won. Yeah, we won. That's all. We won, And we'll find out about Jordan Marshall. He might be done for the year. I don't want to say it, but that's what it looks like. And I hate it, bro. Because he was... Let's look at some of these stats and then we're going to get out of here, y'all. So, Bryce Underwood was 21 of 32 for 280, 2 picks, 3 sacks. He ran it 9 times for 30 yards. And those are scrambles. Those aren't designed runs. Those aren't reads. Besides that one that he kept for like 20 yards. Jordan Marshall, 19 carries for $142, 2 TDs, 7.5 yards a carry, 65-yard long. Kuzdahl, 16 carries, 54 yards, 3.4 yards a carry. Bryce Underwood, 9 for 30, like I said, a long of 15. Jasper Parker had 1 carry for 1 yard. And then Andrew Marsh had the 1 for 10 where he fumbled. You know, so. But Andrew Marsh, 12 catches for 189. That's great. Donovan McCulley, 4 catches for 59 yards. And then Marlon Klein, 1 catch, 10 yards. Deacon Tonelli caught that tip pass, 1 for 8 yards. Jordan Marshall, 1 catch, 8 yards. Zach Marshall, 2 catches for 6 yards. Zavada missed 2 kicks, but became the hero at the end because he hit that chip shot field goal. Special teams, besides that, abysmal for the most part. You know, bad field position. Samaj fumbled. I think he's about done. You probably won't see Samaj barely get on the field now. You know, he was on the field for a few plays, but he was back there for punt return. And then we saw Andrew Marsh back there, and he had a nice return when he got back there. You probably won't see Samaj Morgan much this year again. Probably not, you know. And I hate to say it, he's only one to blame is himself. Nobody made you not catch the ball. Nobody made you be inconsistent in fielding punts, and nobody made you fumble it like that. You kept fighting and kept fighting. Bro, just learn to sometimes give up. Sometimes it's time to give up. You know, you're breaking tackles and there's just another guy. There's another guy. Just get down. We've got the ball. You did your number one job to catch the ball. Now just get down. You're not finna return it. Just give it up. So Michigan's got a bunch of stuff to work on. They need another bye week. The way they played today looked like they need another bye week because Northwestern gave them everything they wanted and more, and they were physical. I wouldn't say they were more physical than us. They were more physical than us defensively. Offensively, we were still physical like we are when we run the ball, but their defense played more physical than our defense with laying that wood. They did. So we definitely got a bunch of stuff to work on, and Sharon Moore, that pressure is mounting back on you because this team did not look well coached. It just didn't look like a well coached team for the most part. So many mental mistakes. That's on you. You had 2 weeks. Looks like your players just want to have fun and they're undisciplined. So we got out of there, and this has been a long one. So on to Maryland. On to Maryland next week, and our playoff hopes they're still alive. We got out of there, but it seems like every week we lose a key player, and it looks like Jordan Marshall's probably done for the year. Hopefully not, but that's what it looks like. So let's hope for the best. So I think that's all I got for this one, y'all. So like, share, subscribe, and as always, go blue.